There is no earth that was created. In chapter 1 of the book of Genesis, what you see being created there was the content of the earth. Because how can you start by saying okay, let's read it. Let's read it and see. Genesis chapter 1. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. Then that's in the beginning. And between that verse and the next verse is a different world that is now talking about.
Look at
verse number 2. And the earth was without form. Which earth again? After God creating his nature, if you look at God after creating every other thing, you would say, this is good. This is good. This is continue reading. This is good. This is good every time. He's a perfect God. There was no way that he would have created a formless earth. Which means the earth that he created in verse number 1 was then disfigured between verse 1 and verse 2. And there was chaos between those two verses. And there is a gap between the first earth and the earth that we now hear of from verse number 2. And the first earth that is there were people, animals, that we no longer have during our time, that were killed as a result of the rains that fell during that time, a flood. Do you know now there are bones of dinosaurs that you see? You see, those people can lie at times, but not every time. Because we are using most of their products now because we believe they are right people. They are the right people to help us. Do you know that if a person dies now, and even after 300 years, they are able to extract his bones and tell when exactly he died? They can even do a post-mortem and they can even establish the cause of the death, depending with how sophisticated you are and the machines that you have. So after extracting a bone from the ground of a dinosaur, some of the years that you hear of, it was way before Adam. Way before Adam. And you know right now there are certain places where they are discovering cities under the sea. Imagine, because if we are going to talk, even Noah never saw some of those big creatures. Imagine if there were dinosaurs during his time, for them to fit even into the ark. Okay? Now, I want you to understand something here. Those animals, some of those dinosaurs would reach up to that level where you see that. Some of them would weigh like 16 elephants, and the bones are still there. These are very big creatures. Now, telling from the amount of the years on the bone itself, you can agree with me that Adam never saw any of those creatures. Because this is just 6,000 years, 7,000 years and so on from creation. From the book of Genesis chapter number 1 verse number 2. Those bones are being collected from verse 1. Not from verse 2. The first earth that God had created, with everything that was perfect. And what happened to that earth? Just to make sure that you understand, if we get into verse number 2, what you see from verse number 2 is not the creation of the earth.
tikapinda pandima yepiri chaonona ipapa
Okay, we'll go back to verse 1. Look at verse number 2. Look at verse number 2.
tichadzokera kundima yekutanga ngatitarisei yechipiri.
And the earth was without form. Which earth is he talking about? It can't be the earth in verse number 1.
haingave nyika yepandima yekutanga iyi.
How can God create anything that doesn't have any form?
zvingaitika sei kuti mwari ungasika chinhu
Look at verse number 2. Look at verse number 2. Look at verse number 2. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. Okay. Are we together now?
tiri tose here.
Now, so what do you see on the earth? Tell me two things that you see on the earth, or three things.